So, what time period is this village supposed to represent? I get this question about Dinthwaite a lot. So, we benefit here somewhat by the relatively stable way in which buildings are designed in medieval Europe, especially Northern Europe, from the advent of Gothic architecture until some of the real crazy developments of the Renaissance. Now, this is a generalization, and there is variation during that timeline, both over time itself and regionally. Where you do see the biggest differences are between your Northern European English lowland style areas and the more Mediterranean and Iberian locations, and this is mostly due to temperature and available building material. So, apart from very regional specific elements, by using the most general and common design elements, we will be able to replicate a convincing backdrop for most impressions from about the 12th century through to the very early 15th century. Now, if you think about it being a rural village out in the boonies, it could represent a very old town for a 16th century reenactment, but at this point, you're starting to add a lot of conjecture. Earlier periods will struggle the most as Iron Age impressions will begin to look kind of out of place next to a more conventional wattle and daub cottage. Ultimately, choosing any time and place will necessarily exclude someone's hobby. That's always the struggle when you're dealing with things that are in the medieval millennium long timeline. Romans won't get much use out of it, neither will your really late period cut and thrust saber folk. But with careful planning and balancing of historical concessions, it can have a fairly wide range of applicability for the major medieval areas we see the bulk of our impressions from, thinking of things from the 12th to the very early 15th century.